Hi and welcome to an EDC video. Some of you might know that I travel around a lot with public transportation for different jobs. So for that reason I need to really think about what I carry, and let me go through some of the tools that have made it onto my EDC. So this is a selection of tools that can handle most of the things that I need to deal with on a daily basis. And of course I have a different extra setup for lock install and for rekeying, but this is just my general tool setup. So let me go through what I first of all carry on body, and then I'll go through my EDC tool bag. So first there's this one, the daily driver for most of the jobs. It's sitting on the belt, always ready when needed. There's an updated version of this coming out. It will be shown in another video. Then on this belt sheath I have my hex set, which Jason has nicely modified so there's no screws or nuts sticking out. And in another one of these I carry my two small Knipex, the small pliers wrench and the small Cobra, so the 4-inch versions. So these sit on my belt, ready for tasks at all time. Then I carry in my pocket a stubby with a selection of bits, and from an updated version of the Advent calendar tool set from Milwaukee, some bits. These are the 50mm 2-inch versions here, and these are Torx 10, 15 and 20. Then there's a Posse 2 and a Phillips number 2, and then for the longer bits there's Torx 15, 20 and 25, and then there's just for old school shit there's a flat and a Phillips number 1. So they also live in a pocket. Then I have my meter keys for different boxes, so also from Knipex, stay in the pocket. And then I carry my set of Cobra and this one. In one of my other tool bags I have the twin grip and the Cobra ES that I've featured in another video, but these are the ones that I always carry with me. And then for just random screwdriver stuff I have a small one of these Vera electrical indicator screwdrivers that should never be used as an indicator, but for small electronics and random poking about, it's good enough. So weighs absolutely nothing, stays in the pocket. So this is my pocket setup. Let me clear this out of the way and let's get into the tool bag. So in my tool bag, which is at the moment just a messenger bag, it's from Amazon, which has problems holding up, so I replace it a few times every year. But in the autumn there will be a Knipex backpack coming out that I saw featured in a Knipex 2026 video. So as soon as I get that, I'll load all these tools into that backpack and show you what a great setup I think I can make for much easier daily tool carry. But for now, let me go through how I managed to set this up. So I carry basically everything that I need without carrying too much. So one important thing is to carry tools that are 100% reliable, that won't fail. So I don't need to carry 4 of each driver, I just need to carry one, because I know it will not fail when I need it the most. So first of all, a Fluke non-contact voltage tester. If you're gonna touch anything electrical, make sure the power is off. These ones are the cheapest life insurance you'll ever get. So always carry one of those, and whenever you use it, make sure you first of all test it on a known source and then on what you are to prove that, and test it again to make sure that it's actually dead. Then I carry a set of VDE screwdrivers. Again, these are medium, I think it's a 4mm flat, and a posse number 1. This is the one I use for the old tail pieces on Rucos, but they are upgraded to Torx 9 from. So this is for the old ones. Then I carry my combination pliers, spring-loaded, for crimping and cutting and wire stripping and grabbing, and they are just the all-round tools for things. Then I have my C-clip pliers, also from Knipex, with the ultra-fine tip that can really go in and grab. So yeah, never leave them home without that. You will need it if you don't have it. Then from Rehab, because I just happen to have them and now put them in my set, a Torx 9 and a Torx 10. And then, because there is still a lot of hex screws in door handles and things, here is a dedicated hex 2 and 2.5, which is the two most used ones. So instead of sitting with the hex set and weird angles and bulky, this one can just reach when needed. And then a Torx 6. You rarely need this, but when you need it, you need it. So it weighs absolutely nothing, and it's gonna save the day when you need it. So, and then for the rough work, I carry my chisel drivers. There's a flat that can also be used as an actual chisel, and then there's the Torx 15 and 20. Those are the two most used screws that you find in locks in Denmark. And when the screws are stuck, it's really nice that you can give them a good beating and get old paint out of the screws, so they will come loose. And of course, for old time's sake, a posse number 2 that used to be the go-to screw for locks and installations in Denmark. None of that Phillips, we use posse. And then there's just another bit holder, medium sized, and from the 2022 tool check, this is loaded with just random bits, and this is not the normal setup that came with this, but I really like the bit holder, so I filled it up with tools and bits that I just might need on a job. So a great selection and an extra bit holder here. So nice selection for the odd stuff that is not on a daily. And then just this crazy one. It's actually an old screwdriver that I managed to break by not following the guidelines from the manufacturer, and now I just use it to pound out some what you call it, plugs and things. So it has a lot of usage, and it's just here, and Now I can beat this if I need to poke something and not damage one of my Torx screwdrivers that I might have done in the past. And then, what else? Just a small tray, which is actually an old carry case where the zipper died. So now it's just a parts bin that weighs nothing, and when you take something apart, it's really nice that you can keep the parts. And combined with an egg holder, so this is good for lock parts as well. So yeah, weighs nothing, takes up no space, saves the day. Then I have just a random piece of metal for poking and pulling and just getting into hard to read places. When you need it, it's there. You never know when you need it, but if you don't have it, you need it. Then I have gloves. Old locks can be really dirty. Then I have this one, which is actually a socket set from Vera. I think it's partly from one of the old advent calendars and just some random 5.5 to 13 millimeter. And then I have a giant flat blade for when that is needed. And then I have this old beat up ankle driver, which is a game changer when that is the only thing you can fit. Of course, I should have something new from Vera in here, but as long as this works, it stays. So that goes in here. And then I have more pouches. This one just holds some small drill bits. These are the self-centering ones, so 2 different sizes, and they are with the hex, so I can put them in my screwdriver handle and use them by hand. And then there's one of those screwdrivers for security screws, and just another random GX9 for a lock. So, and what else? And I have another one. This one holds some followers and a few padlock shims and just one of those bags that holds a bit of extra that just come in handy. Then a fastback knife in case you need to cut away a bit of wood if you need to adjust a strike or keep. So random Milwaukee from one of the advent calendars, and a pen. And then I have this little setup. These are, it needs to be filled up again. There's a lot of things missing here that needs to be here, but these are just all those random screws that happen to get lost when you're out in the field and working out in the real world. And instead of spending half an hour trying to find a small screw that dropped and got lost, you have a few extras. So that is what I carry on a daily basis on my body and in my tool bag. So till next one, have a nice day. Bye for now.